Hello everyone and welcome to the map Whispers of Gold here. Today we'll be taking a look at a highlight professional best-of-3 series of StarCraft 2. Joining me, the upper left corner for map number 1 here will be a fan favorite, a personal favorite, a blue Terran. It is ByuN. And their Terran opponent here, the red command center, the bottom right corner shall belong to Spirit. He's got Spirit, yes he does. We know. TVT to start things off, of course. The day is young, the match is here. It's gonna be, of course, Terran versus Terran can go a lot of different ways, but I generally like to think of it like a nuclear-powered chess match, where one wrong move results in your entire army running into a line of siege tanks, and just kind of like you press the delete button or backspace in some mods and games, and just everything just explodes. It's great. It's fantastic. I fully expect to see some sort of proxy shenanigan from really either of these players. I'm not too, I will say, not too familiar with the nuances, the workings here of Spirit. Much more familiar with ByuN's style, but I have heard good things, and I know Spirit has been in the game, in the scene, for quite some time. I've casted some of his games before, been impressed with what I've seen. I figured, hey, what the hell? I'm feeling TVT this morning. Let's rock. And you're trying to hide the SCV. Oh, what are we doing here, Mr. Spirit? Nada? Nothing? Just being sneaky? Maybe. Reapers are going to meet out in the middle of the map. Looks like ByuN's Reaper got a little bit of an edge here. Spirit's in a little bit of trouble. Red health. Oh, God. Oh. If he makes it back home, a second Reaper will be able to join in. And then ByuN's going to be outnumbered here, 2 versus 1. Hardly a fair fight, I believe. ByuN pushing the envelope with this. No. Okay, the SCV didn't get the kill, but it almost did. For all intents and purposes, we'll say the SCV got that kill, because it was the SCV that made the Reaper stutter. The sneaky SCV here, ready to do battle. Okay then, the 2 Reapers for Spirit do make their way up into the main base. Hellion pops out and is able to get an initial line attack, doing quite well. It will be met. They will be dealt with. ByuN will be safe, losing just a couple SCVs in the exchange. Spirit's battle worker out here, as I'm going to have to call it, deciding to head home, feeling victorious, feeling good about that exchange, no doubt. How are we handling the mid-game now? We're getting away from that early bit of aggression. I see a little deviation here, a little discrepancy going on. Spirit is going for a fairly fast third command center, at least comparatively. ByuN opting to just kind of round out, it seems, the production. Got that starport up and running, does have the Raven on the way. 4 Hellions make their way into the natural, where there's effectively no defense. We've got 1 bunker with 1 Marine, which is about as good as throwing, paperweights and harsh words at the Hellions, I suppose. Marines up in the main base are not going to enjoy their day, frankly. SCV's now in a bit of trouble. Now, 2 Hellions, they'll take a while to kind of burn through all of the variety of targets here. They're certainly keeping the Marine count a little low, though. That's helpful. Spirit definitely taking a bit more damage in the exchange than ByuN did previously there. ByuN feeling confident, actually, from how all of that went, is going to slap down that third command center on location here. Raven now decides to help out with the main base. Hellions, are these more Hellions? Are these the same Hellions? They're Hellions at the bare minimum. 14 SCVs plucked off. Killed through all of that. The Raven swooped in and got 3 kills. Red health Hellions really trying to find something. Cyclone's gonna help shut it down. should be able to lock everything down. Honestly, you might want to make a second Cyclone just to keep the Raven at bay. Another one falls, another one bites. The Raven auto turret proving to be just as annoying as the rest of its predecessors in terms of ByuN's harassment. The third command center will definitely be finishing up. Have a good opportunity there. Did you make a second Raven? He's made 3 Ravens. ByuN going full-blown auto turret this game. One is, of course, at home to help out with the actual army management, interference, anti-armor missile, that kind of business. I think ByuN's probably going to want to take a minute just to actually set up and maybe use this third command center, but as always, I could be wrong. They could decide to just pull the trigger, despite it being rather ill-advised. Spirit, desperately trying to recover, gets hit with yet another auto turret here. ByuN shown to be in pretty good standing, pretty strong spot, at least in map number 1 here. The worker discrepancy, 48 to 39. Not massive, but in a mirror matchup, even the little numbers can add up over time. ByuN's going into what I would call a standard-looking setup here. Marines, tanks, Ravens, adding in some Vikings now. Actually got more Ravens. It went up to 4. Leaving just 1 on the other side for the harassment, deciding to pool the energy up on 3 of the others. Helpful to interference, potential siege tanks, auto turrets to help out Marine versus Marine battle. We're going to call that a blunder. Yeah, I don't think that was quite intentional. I believe it may have been an all-army hotkey, or it may have been just a misclick, but either way, I'm going to go with not quite the ByuN tension. Yeah, it seems rather ByuN intentional. Yeah, I think we can roll with that one. And center sits down and immediately regrets sitting down. Vikings will start to shell that. It should be safe, though. Siege tank setting up now, able to get rid of that pesky supply depot at the edge of the main base there. Scan goes out because ByuN has to be wondering, where is your army? Oh, there's your army. And there go the SCVs. God, the damage per second value of Marines is nuts. Command center in peril now. Spirits did get away. Vikings are landed and doing something. The command center for ByuN's actually going to be destroyed. Spirit fighting back and getting a win on the board, I feel. Actually pretty helpful. The Ravens decide to check out the local flora behind the main base here. Siege tanks. I mean, 4 siege tanks. Definitely not, the easiest to contend with at this point. ByuN's going to inch just a little bit forward here. Start to shell the refinery. If Spirit gets everything together here, he should be able to clear it. ByuN's tanks are clustered, too. I mean, 1 Liberator really would help out. But you can also kind of drop on top of the siege tanks to avoid some of their fire. There's always the option, too, of interference matrix. The Marines are chasing the Ravens through the middle of the map. Oh, yeah, the landed Vikings, that'll get them. 2 landed Vikings, huh? No. Spirit's just going to pick it up. Oh, God, the Marines took a heavy loss, and the siege tank lost, too. Okay. Well, now I think is the go time. You just carpet bomb, drop the Marines. Everything's coming together. Spirit clears it with ease. The natural will stay alive, albeit bruised, battered, beaten even. Spirit does have, I'll say, 1 victory in that the 3rd command center is still alive. ByuN actually not only traded that away, but hasn't seen fit to actually rebuild it fully yet. ByuN decided to slap it in the main base. So, maybe I shouldn't have made that on location. Ravens fly in, releasing their turrets of death and destruction. For 3 SCVs, that is. The rest are just scared, fearful. Spirit? Not too sure about this one. The Marines get in, clear the medevacs even before they finish fully unloading. The SCVs are pulled, which is going to go poorly for everybody involved. SCVs on the other side dying. Medevac's trying to drop into the natural. Things, chaos a bit across the board. Oh god, they're still here. ByuN losing more SCVs. The worker count actually evened up at the high 30s here. How many of y'all killed 49 and 41 workers in a 10-minute game? These lads have killed more workers than some of you made in an entire match. I know. Don't lie to me. I've seen your games. Okay, the Ravens continuing to do their job. What's the kill count on the Ravens? We got 10. Can't select more than one. 10, 10, and 16. That's a lot of kills, Batman. Okay, do the math. These Ravens have seriously gotten some value for themselves. At this point, if I'm trying to assess which spot I like better, gosh, I mean, ByuN does have the better army, especially with the Ravens still alive. I feel like if they come to blows, ByuN should take it. I think the more time that goes on, things might be better for Spirit, just because the command center never died, so, you know, worker count. But then again, you know, workers lost hasn't exactly been in their favor. 44 to 49. Spirit is going up on workers. ByuN definitely up on army. ByuN has been cranking out the army production. I'm trying to even up the workers now too. Spirit's adding on more production structures, so going for a little bit of an investment. Could backfire. It depends, I think, on when one of them wants to actually pull the trigger. ByuN might be waiting for 2-2 to finish up. +2 armor just completed, but attack is still a little ways away. I could be wrong, though. I might be wrong. ByuN might be itching. Might be saying it's go time now, actually. There's 3 tanks, but ByuN does have interference matrix. Don't forget, 1 goes out. Marines, they actually halt the Ravens moving forward. Only 2 of the 3 tanks get shut down. Boys are pulled. Marines looks like pull the trigger on the other side of the map as well. ByuN should be able to hold that with relative ease. Over here, oh god, he drops on top of the tanks. That's going to go really well. ByuN looking to take the 3rd command center area. The tanks can move up. Not going to happen, though. GG is going to be called. ByuN is going to take map number 1. For map number 2, we move to Ultra Love here. And they switched colors, sort of. ByuN is now red and will occupy the upper right corner here. And in the bottom left, a curious color change, I would call it. No longer dealing with blue. Here, Spirit has decided to take on the colors of teal. Light blue, very light blue. Pastel, even for you artiste people there. An interesting choice. Will the powers of teal give Spirit the motivation, the support that they need moving into map number 2? It's on the line now. We're in a best-of-3. If ByuN takes this, that's game, set, match. We'll see. Things, I'll say, it was not supremely one-sided, map number 1. That is, it was a bit of back and forth there. There were definitely opportunities, moments that Spirit got some damage done. Spirit, I think, really struggled with the harassment back at home. It didn't quite have his own castle in order, so to speak. The Ravens just kept getting damage done, just more and more accruing over time. I looked at the worker count, the worker killed count just before we moved over here. 69 workers killed. 1, okay, yes, very nice, I know. Secondly, what? Losing 69 workers over the course of that, with what we see on the Ravens, I think we saw 26 kills at one point on just those 3 Ravens, so that really worked out well for ByuN. They're both going just fine so far, I'd say. Just typical Reaper expand so far. Nothing too crazy, nothing too out of the ordinary. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we won't see any sort of proxy business, any sort of shenanigans. Can I get some ByuNshies, please? I love the puns. I love being able to work and weave in some puns thanks to ByuN there. Deciding to just keep going with Reaper. Oh, ByuN's adding on a reactor instead. Ah, okay. And Reaper will hold the high ground here. The SCV Reaper combo hits the natural ramp. Grenade gets thrown down. There's not going to be a whole lot of help here for ByuN. He's going to have to pull the worker off the command center, which is unfortunate. That's why we bring in SCV Scout with the Reaper now. No longer we have the 3 Reaper or 3-per Hellion combo in the initial attack. No, now we have just a battle worker. Okay, great. Haven't quite kept up with my TVT meta. Didn't expect a whole lot of change, but here we are. 2 Reapers jump up into the main base for Spirit. Looking a little bit like map number 1 here. Gets a kill on the Reaper. Gets a kill on an SCV, though. We really need those Hellions out. The Hellions do finally make it out. A few SCVs have died off. Oh god, they're trying to repair. They do repair successfully, actually keeping some of the workers alive. ByuN putting the Terran ingenuity to good use. The good old, here's my drill, feel better kind of thing. There we go. Do you feel better yet? The SCV's like, yes, I'm fine. Please stop. Okay, we're good. The Hellions have secured it. Oh, we're getting it. ByuN number 1 spotted. Cloak on the way. Love it. Spirit has decided to unleash the true terror of the Terran army here. A terror in Widowmine. I know Widowmine's not the usual pick for TVT, really not something you would kind of, mass up unless you're doing some sort of impressive meme style build Widowmine battlecruiser, but it can catch the opponent off guard. You're just moving Marines around the map. You're looking for siege tanks. You're expecting a siege tank shot to come out of nowhere, not quite a Widowmine shot. Can result in quite a few dead or at least very injured Marines. Spirit, taking a page out of ByuN's book, it looks like, from map number 1 here, has decided to go for interference matrix with the starport. Gonna be making some Ravens. Cyclone. Also going up to 2 clones, it looks like. Where's number 1? Oh, just chilling on the ramp in between, of course. The ByuN makes its move here, cloaked and ready for battle. Not sure there's any scans, but there is the Raven here. Lock on will be obtained and will actually be killed off. That's pretty big. That's good for Spirit. Losing the Banshee. Does ByuN have any others? Okay, there is one more. Oh god, but losing that investment, that hurts. Like, you get Cloak and try to keep the Banshee alive to accrue value over at least multiple attacks, just like the Ravens. It's not something you want to just kind of walk in and lose. God, don't fly it over the Widowmine either. Well, the Widowmine will be spotted, and only losing 1.5 Hellions is probably the best value it could have had for ByuN, that is. Tries to burrow. Cyclone watching the main base will deny any moves from the Banshee there. Does that work? No. It works. They can just barely hit the workers. Oh my gosh. ByuN finds a sweet spot for a couple siege tanks here. Marines will provide a little bit of defense. I'm not seeing any Liberators set up. But, Spirit does have the interference matrix, so that can definitely help out here. Just shut down both of the tanks and move your own tanks into position. That could help out. There's only 1 siege tank right now for Spirit, though. I think you're going to need at least a second one. The Banshee, what happened to you? I don't know. Okay. Interference set up. We'll be able... You've got to focus that siege tank, Spirit. Oh my god. Okay. Should be able to get that one. Does get that. The second one's shut down. Spirit actually just decides to take his time and clear this safely, securely. Oh god, shoot the tank. What? Or not. Fine. Well, luckily, ByuN can't hit back. No vision, so ByuN's tanks will be cleared, will be lost, will be defeated. Things actually looking really good, I would say, for Spirit so far. He's up on workers and has deflected all of ByuN's attacks. Might be looking at a pretty solid mid-game here for the Teal Terran. Oh god, they're going to meet in the middle of the map too. Interference auto turrets go out. It's a bloodbath really on both sides here. Spirit should take this, but not without some heavy losses. Do you keep going? You keep going. The command center at the third base now won't even get to feel the brunt of the siege tank shot, and 3 Marines definitely are not going to whittle this one down before it gets back to base, so might as well just pack it up. Ugh, the siege tank shot. Rip. That one Marine in particular. Upgrades finishing up a bound here. They're both going to have 1-1. ByuN is deciding to both go for what is probably a risky drop and Liberators behind this. Spirit decides just to occupy the base, outside the base area here. There's a mule drop for repairs. Love it. Always nice to see. Not the Manor Mule, of course, we're not throwing it at ByuN, we're just doing it for repairs, so good on them. Very ill-advised drop here. I don't really like this. ByuN. Oh, Spirit's gonna stem in here, does get one of the siege tanks, decides to pick up, so I'm just cutting the tank count in half for this attack. Mule was brought back home. Oh, interference shut down, auto turret. God, does the turret win? Oh my gosh, the turret wins. They do so much damage. The Marines in the natural will be cleaned up as well, so Spirit yet again deflects one of the attacks. Did lose the +2 attack in production, and Engineering Bay was killed off. Yeah, Engineering Bay killed off, but at this point, since ByuN is not researching 2-2, it's really just a delay. ByuN does have the armory, but just hasn't really been able to commit the resources. The Liberator's going to fly into the main base here. Spirit already sees it, though. We'll end up only losing a minimal amount here. Drop into the natural again. ByuN says no eBay for you. Okay. We don't allow eBay on this map. Sketchy business, if you ask ByuN. Oh, the Marines were waiting, though. Oh, gosh. SCV's still being picked off. This Liberator was actually quite successful. I would say 13 kills on the Liberator. Will it be enough to actually even things up? Spirit is ahead on the army supply by a decent amount, and will be ahead on workers if the engineering bays are ever allowed to actually exist. Spirit's got Liberators of his own. Using that anti-air attack to get a little work done here. Marines drop into the main base. Third base, that interference is going to help out shut down those tanks. The Marines, looks like Spirit should be fine. Decides to pick off the siege tanks. That's the priority, I can agree. Drop in the main base, deflected as well. Command center production delayed, but not stopped, not destroyed. So that's going to be fine. I'm still liking Spirit's position, honestly. At this point, ByuN has been deflected on pretty much every front. The machine of Spirit hasn't really been slowed down. I mean, army production's looking good. Workers lost. We've slipped up in the last little minute or so, but still not to a point that Spirit's even behind on workers. Spirit's still ahead is what I mean. It's not to the point that he's behind. And it might actually be go time, I suppose. ByuN's got a few groups out on the map ready to pounce, but there's still enough defenses in place that I think Spirit should be okay. Engagement here up at the top side. The siege tanks doing their job of making Marines feel much less valuable than in any other matchup. The tanks will be set up, will be cleared. ByuN losing both of the siege tanks. Actually, this base is now pretty wide open, vulnerable to attack. Boys are going to be pulled. ByuN makes a move at the third base of Spirit, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Spirit is going to take map number 2. The power of Teal prevails, it would seem. 1-1, grand finale time. The grand finale will be played on the map Amygdala. Get those emotions ready, everyone. Here, the upper right corner shall belong to once again wearing the colors of teal. I agree, it worked out well for him in the last one. It is Spirit. And the opponent to the red Terran here, the bottom left, is ByuN. Needs a bit of help. Needs a bit of love, I feel. After that last one, just nothing really worked out as far as all the attacks. The Banshees were shut down. Siege tanks were literally shut down. Thank you, Interference Matrix. Spirit kind of took the more defensive route just to get all of those tech paths to shut down those initial attacks. Having double Cyclone, having Interference Matrix, not getting crazy with any sort of main base drops. Spirit kind of showing if you just slow down, take your time, lock all your doors, shut all your windows kind of thing, everything goes okay. And I'm inclined to agree. Safe builds, especially if you're somebody that's still, getting into StarCraft, you're still learning kind of what to do, you're trying to focus on mechanics. Definitely go for something a bit more reliable, but safer of a build, frankly, more chill. Maybe don't look at what Clem is doing if you're trying to learn about playing Terran, just because Clem is probably doing things that, only Clem really could, okay? Maybe get some other data points. No shade against Clem, of course. Clem, magnificent, wonderful Terran, but Clem is Clem. It's like saying, I want to do a Serral build. Okay. You do that. You go for it. Alright. How we looking so far? Any deviations? We got the command centers on the low ground. Everybody's finishing it up. Starports coming up as well. They both have kind of silently agreed not to even look at each other, really. Yeah, no scouting. The Reapers are staying at home. Hellions helping out for defense. And I think we're just going to see kind of a leapfrog, a catapult up into the mid-game. See the choices here. Who's going to go for Interference Matrix? So far, we have a 100% win rate for the player who gets Interference Matrix. Key ingredient, I think. The secret recipe for TVT victory, baby. So far, I'll say the starport isn't actually switching onto the tech lab. So it's going to be a medevac first. Spirit decides to go for the tech lab a little bit quicker and is going for Interference Matrix again. Uh-oh. Is it a tell? Is it a vision? I don't know. Cyclone's going to be the choice as well, first from the factory. Versus ByuN decided to go for a siege tank, and the medevac is going to be used rather villainously, I would describe. They're actually going to be setting up a drop, it seems. Huh. Okay. Well, this will be spotted, at least. Spirit does have the scouting marine out there. I think this is the first time they're actually spotting each other this match. The Cyclone gets a solid lock onto the medevac. We'll start to whittle that one down. Raven helping out with an auto turret. Spirit has so much army. I think it's totally fine. Doesn't even need the Interference Matrix. ByuN's just going to pick up the tank, head home. I think losses there. Yeah. I mean, not a terrible amount. Certainly better than losing something like the siege tank. They're both going for Interference Matrix. Uh-oh. It's on now. We're putting the theory to the test. I suppose if they both get Interference Matrix, though, my theory still stands. Whoever wins. Well, they did have Interference Matrix, right? Cyclone defeats Cyclone. Standard balance issue there. Command Center, they produced very close to the demolition zone here. That's a good job, SCV, maintaining focus with all of the fire that's going on around their head. Even the Raven angrily staring at the rocks. Look, guys, I'm helping. Yes, you are, Raven. Good job. Command Center for Spirit decides to be made in the main base. Actually, not going for the on location. Not even sure they're going to be going for the gold base because they haven't cleared the rocks yet. Ravens. It's a lot of Ravens. What are we up to? 3 versus 2. Okay. Maybe that's the tell. Maybe it's not the presence of interference matrix. Maybe it's the amount of interference. The matrices. Upgrades on the way as well. Looks like Spirit's actually looking to be a little bit ahead on that. ByuN has NG base. Okay, they're just getting started. Alright. That's okay. They're not that far behind. Not terribly far behind. Spirit decides not to go for the gold base. Decides to go for what I would call the normal third position for the Terran. Get that triangle set up and better for the defense, for the movement of Terran forces versus this. It's not even really the line third. The line third would be down here, and that would be atrocious to try to defend. I don't even like that as Zerg, and I have creep. Okay, absolutely not. Watchtower will be contested, will be claimed for the teal Terran. Get a little bit of vision here, make sure ByuN's not doing anything sneaky with that upper left side of the map. ByuN's, I mean, maybe going for something sneaky with this economic play with the gold base, but so far, not a whole lot of potential, not a whole lot of explosive plays yet. Marines take the far right here. Did pick off something, so Spirit's going to know about their presence at least. Stim finishing up? Yeah, okay, so they got Stim. Spirit's got combat shields almost halfway done. ByuN, I don't even think has started it. Really? Oh god, that's gonna hurt. Combat shields is pretty big. Giving the Marines an extra 10 hit points, you're like, it's 10 health, Indigos. Hey, okay, 10 health in a Marine versus Marine battle? Marines do 6 damage, do the math. That's helpful. ByuN's adding on more Marines, decides to try to take back the upper left, will be successful shooing away that Reaper at least. 1-1 about to finish up for red. Combat shields finishing up for teal, though, right as the move is made. The gold base, not just contested, but immediately evacuated as well. The siege tank shut down. Helpful. The boys are pulled. What are we looking at army-wise? Gosh, Spirit's got the upper hand on the army production, too. ByuN just not really getting it all together here. Combat shields finally started. A drop in the main base is going to go pretty well, I think, for Spirit here. ByuN's Marines do get here for the defense, but 9 SCVs lost in that little bit of time. Oh god, don't lose the medevac. Was the command center picked off? I don't think so. No, it was just moved over here. Okay. ByuN decides to go for that line third, or line third, fourth. I don't know. What do we call this? I guess we'll call this the fourth. ByuN goes for the line third. Siege tank set up at the defense of the fourth here. Interference on another Raven. Ooh, Spirit gets both Ravens, so those were the only ones too. Anti-armor missile used. That'll really help out in the Marine versus Marine front. The siege tanks, though, are still a little bit of an issue. Interference goes out. Spirit's going to make the move here. Oh my gosh, ByuN picking up 2 of the siege tanks. Was able to unsiege them so they get out of there safely. ByuN should have enough to repel at least the Marines from this, but the siege tanks, I think, are going to be another problem. Combat shields finally finishes up here as a drop is on its way for Spirit. Teal looking to set up the multi-prong attack. The initial medevac does get a few more kills, but nothing too major. Marines move forward, picking off siege tanks, forcing the command center away as the drop in the third, natural third here, deciding. A little chaotic, but we're getting there. Marines will be dropped, siege tanks will be used. A great arc, I will say, from ByuN. You should be able to clear this, but age-old at what cost? The mining has been denied, workers have been killed off, and the army supply is starting to teeter even more in favor of teal here. Spirit, oh god, the drop too, really? We're going for it, okay. Siege tank set up on the bottom. Siege tank will be set up in the main base here. It's going to be enough Marines to actually breaking through it despite ByuN's defensive setup. Tanks here, 2-2. Well, +2 attack completes for Spirit just at the nick of time, but it's not actually going to matter. ByuN's going to tap out. Spirit takes the finale, proving the theory I know you all were thinking. I know at the very least it seems Spirit was thinking that teal is better than blue. Apparently, an interference matrix is really good, really helpful. So, you TVT enjoyers out there, don't forget your interference matrix. There you go. As always, if you enjoyed, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day.